Help UKIM by sponsoring a Hafiz and get rewarded by up to 70 times blessings this Ramadan. For donations, call now or visit ukim.org.
क्या आपको कोविड-19 वैक्सीनेशन की पहली या दूसरी डोज की जरूरत है? मकामी NHS आपकी वैक्सीन लगवाना पहले से कहीं आसान बना रहा है। आप ईस्ट ऑफ इंग्लैंड शो ग्राउंड या पीटरबोरो सिटी केयर सेंटर पर रोजाना सुबह 9 बजे से शाम 3 बजे के दरमियान वैक्सीन लगवाने के लिए जा सकते हैं। अपने करीबी वैक्सीनेशन सेंटर्स जानने के लिए thevaccinators.co.uk विजिट कीजिए।
हाँ बिलाल, मैं हमारी ग्रोसरी और हलाल मीट के लिए मुख्तलिफ स्टोर्स पर जाते जाते थक चुकी हूँ। पार्किंग हमेशा से एक मसला रहा है और मुझे आखिरी बार एक पार्किंग टिकट भी मिला है।
कितनी दफा बता चुका हूँ, 232 लिंकन रोड पीटरबोरो पर पार्क फूड्स को ट्राई करो। ये कैम्ब्रिजशायर की सबसे बड़ी एथनिक सुपरमार्केट है और उनके पास 1 घंटे के लिए फ्री कस्टमर कार पार्क है।
वाओ, रियली? लेकिन क्या मैं वहाँ से सब कुछ खरीद सकती हूँ?
यस, fresh quality fruit, vegetables, dairy product, halal meat and poultry delivered every day. Really is a one-stop shop. Plus, Park Foods carry a huge range of brands from around the world and thousands of products in their daily use household range.
मैं अभी जाना चाहती हूँ। वो कब तक खुलते हैं?
Monday to Saturday, 8:30 to 8 p.m. and 11 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. और ये बहुत ही साफ और महफूज है और कोविड गाइडलाइंस को फॉलो किया जाता है। तो फिर चलें, शाजिया।
Park Foods. Come and see the difference.
Peterborough's community radio station, Salaam Radio, 106.2 FM.
106.2 FM, and we are online. We are on Facebook, and we are back with Salaam Sports here on Salaam Radio. Thank you so much for joining us once again after a week off. And do you know what, Sadat? Nice to be back in the studio with you again. Welcome.
Yeah, it's been more than a week off, or have I missed more than a week? Because I was away the weekend before. I remember I was out.
I think you've missed a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it's good to be back in the studio, and we also have a co-host on the line. That is not Bidan.
Wow.
Who have we got on the line?
Is it someone from Luton?
Wa alaikum salam. Rashid, thank you so much for joining us. Are you calling in from Luton?
No, London.
London. What, 0207?
Yes.
Of course it is.
Luton's close. That's close to Luton.
0207. Rashid, thank you so much for joining us. We still don't have Arif. He's still finding his feet now that he's back in the UK. I don't know if he's still quarantining or not.
No,
but,
he's done his quarantine. I'm sure
he's done his quarantine.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs another week. So hopefully he should be back in the studio from next week. And we're going to have Bidan joining in the second half of the show. So we're going to have a busy. Can you hear Rashid okay?
Yeah. Well, not now. He's not speaking. But
Rashid, are you speaking?
Yes, I am.
Good, we can hear you. Welcome to everyone joining the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our listeners in Luton as well, Inspire FM 105.1. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the show. What's been going on in the world of sports, Sadat?
3 big, massive things have gone on since we...
Talk in your microphone, please.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, buddy. Is that better?
We've had somebody really short sat on that stool before.
Haven't we?
Yeah, that's
what's
what it is.
going on?
You're too tall for this.
But then I'll miss the camera, and I want to be on the camera as well, you see.
Yeah.
Yes, 3 massive things happened.
Go on.
Ronaldo joined Man United.
That's football.
Ronaldo joined Man United.
Football.
And Ronaldo joined Man United.
Get over it. I mean, Rashid, I'm sure you've got lots to say about that. We will discuss that. We will discuss that a little bit later on. But I mean, it's massive news. In fact, you know what? Let's just open up with Ronaldo to Manchester United. Let's just do it. Why not?
Yes.
So you're going to wait for Bidan to join us?
I'm sure he's going to have plenty to say in the second half as well. But let's kick off with that news.
Brilliant.
I'm going to ask, okay, because Rashid, I try and be neutral here, okay? Rashid, if I understand, is a Man United supporter.
Rashid is a Man United fan,
right.
Yes.
Is he more happy that Ronaldo joined United, or is he more happy that Ronaldo didn't join City?
Rashid, what are you more happy about?
Ronaldo joining United.
Okay, but you have to admit, you did have a bit of a giggle when City fans thought they had it in the bag. And at the last minute, you guys came in and just took him.
Yeah, I mean, I just I just didn't think that would happen. It was absolutely hilarious because I know a couple of City fans and they were gloating even before he had signed.
Yeah.
And that's like the most schoolboy error you can make about any transfer, at any time.
Yeah.
Especially after they thought they had Messi in the bag last season and they didn't learn the lesson. And Ronaldo duped them.
You're absolutely right. You cannot count your chickens, can you? You cannot count your chickens. That is the world of football, especially with things like agents involved and these big transfers and rumours in the press and all that kind of stuff. And, Liverpool fans have been guilty of it as well in the past. We've been gassed about.
I think.
Yeah, pretty much everybody has.
And my son, for example, on the transfer day, all that, when it happened, before, he's coming in the room every 10 minutes. Ronaldo's going to City. Ronaldo's going to City. Because I was in the other room doing my work, and he's bursting in, and Ronaldo going to United. What is it? It was definitely the most dramatic
transfer of the whole transfer period. But as a non-United fan, I'm seriously, and Rashid's heard this from me before anyway, I'm seriously impressed with the business that Man United have done. And Rashid, I'm sure you'll talk about the one gap you feel like you have left in your squad, and we'll let you talk about that. But I just think, and I've said this to friends who are Liverpool fans, I said, look, they've got probably one of the top 2 or 3 best young players in the world in Jadon Sancho coming along. He's somebody that's going to give him a good 5 to 10 years potentially. I'd put him in the same bracket as Mbappe, Haaland. You could probably add Rashford in there as well.
Yeah.
But Jadon Sancho is very, very exciting, and what he's done in the Bundesliga over the last 2 seasons, it's very, very impressive. Then they've got, the one half of the centre-back partnership that dominated European football in Varane. He's, people say Ramos this, Ramos that, but I've always been more impressed by Varane. I think he's more of a technician.
Well, the other half, they're the best defensive team in the Euro 2020, didn't they?
Who's that?
Maguire in England had the best defensive.
Yeah. You picked up Maguire, and he's kind of struggled a little bit. But I think Varane will definitely help him, and he'll help Varane. And I think that's a massive signing for me. I think he's one of the top. I don't know. Rashid will probably give me a better number, but he's for me, he's probably one of the top 5 in the world. Centre backs.
United haven't sort of in the past shied away from picking big, say, potential upcoming. We had that midfielder who went. His name just slipped my mind, but the French. He was the best youngster for the French in midfield. He went to Everton eventually. Schneidlin, was it Schneidlin?
Schneiderlin, yeah.
Yeah, Schneiderlin.
So when he came, it was a potential. It was massive. He was going to, he could be this. And there's other players that are like, even the one they've just sold now, James.
He
was supposed to be, up and coming. So it's different when you come to a big, massive club like Manchester United, I think. And we'll see. Obviously, time will tell. So.
Yeah, and then just to top it all off, they spent big money on Sancho. Nobody's denying that. They spent, I think market rate money for Varane, which is still quite a bit. Again, nobody's denying that. But then they go and get the greatest of all time. Like, people use the word
25 million. Well,
the greatest, literally the greatest of all time. And he's been written off for the last 5 or 6 years, and he's been top scorer for the last 5 or 6 years. Like, you can't, and people are saying his physical conditioning is that of a 29-year-old. So, he might be 35, 36, but if he's got the conditioning of a 29-year-old, he's going to give you 2 or 3 good years.
Soccer Aid yesterday, and likes of Rooney playing for Soccer Aid, and thinking, Ronaldo.
Rooney's younger than Ronaldo, right?
Exactly. Ronaldo's about a year older than him, 8-9 months, whatever it is, and I'm thinking, wow.
So,
difference.
So non-United fan, I think you guys have had a massive transfer window. You were never going to answer all the questions in one transfer window. That was a given. But I feel like you've bought yourself time to maybe wait till Christmas, January, or wait till next summer to fill in the final piece of the jigsaw. Rashid, what do you think is the final piece of the jigsaw?
Well, it's very respectful what we think is. Like I said, I think it's a defensive midfielder. Manchester United like a genuine top-draw defensive midfielder.
So who have you got playing there at the moment? You've got Fred, Matic, and McTominay.
Yeah, and it's a combination of what happens is Pogba gets pushed out on the left, and that suits him because he doesn't have to do it his defensive roles are therefore curtailed, so he can go express himself, attack and create, and a lot of his best comes from that. But with Fred Fred and McTominay in the McFred in midfield, it's two players having to do the role of one top draw player. That's what it is. If you had a proper defensive midfielder, and the problem with Matic is 33, his legs aren't, he can't get up and down as well.
But what are you saying? Are you saying
younger Matic?
Yeah, I mean, Sadat, what do you think? Do you think McTominay is not quite good enough to do that role by himself, so he needs Fred, and Fred's not quite good enough and he needs McTominay, and you're sacrificing one attacking player because you but then the only player
ahead of Fred, I would put McTominay ahead of Fred.
Although Fred's looking decent
no, he was
back
poor.
in the last season. He was looking good.
You know better than anyone because you've played that position yourself, right? Okay.
Yeah.
As a midfield player, and that's what you did for us, right? You were a playmaker. You could sit and play, and you could go off and be a number 10 when you wanted to. What Fred can do, he helps to break things up in the sense he can press high, he can put a tackle in. But his positional sense isn't great. McTominay doesn't press as much, but what he can do, he can collect the ball, play the ball out of defence, and he can join attacks. Now, you need a combination of both. And what they both lack, and what they can't seem to do, is when defenders or attacking midfielders run off behind, they can't track that. They both fall for that. And that's where you need to have that double pivot of them. If one sits and the other one can go.
But United have played with that double pivot for the last for 4 or 5 years. I think since maybe Moyes came along. I think So and it's not. I mean, it's worked for them in that they do manage to dispatch some of the weaker teams, but against some of the top quality teams, you probably need a single pivot, 2 potential roaming players that can join in and play that cam role and support the likes of Fernandes, right?
Yeah, ideally, if you had a Carrick or a Roy Keane, then you could actually play Pogba and Bruno, and you can unleash them.
Yeah.
And fair enough, they can hand the ball when we lose it, but generally,
I just think like this. I mean, you've obviously your knowledge of football players around the globe is a lot deeper than mine and Sadat's. But the only player I can think of is N'Golo Kante. And he's not going to leave Chelsea now because Chelsea are genuinely one of the contenders for the Premier League.
You talk about good signings. They've made some great signings. I mean, Lukaku, I think, is a good signing for Chelsea.
I think it's a brilliant signing.
Yeah,
I think it's a brilliant signing. So that do you think Lukaku's going to get more goals than Ronaldo?
He didn't last year, did he?
Is a prime Lukaku going to get more goals than a washed-up has-been Ronaldo?
Well, Ronaldo's leading goal scorer.
I think Ronaldo's going to be top goal scorer. I mean,
I don't know, because, I mean, look, it's not just about Ronaldo's, it's the supply he gets. If he gets the supply, then you're fine. I mean, I think the same problem we had at the start with our number 7, now has gone to number 21, the Uruguayan.
Yeah, Cavani.
He makes some great runs, and he's there. But the ball play is just so slow sometimes to get the ball to him that he would have scored more goals in a different team, I think.
The thing is now, both Pogba and Bruno, they'll be the main supply line, and he needs to get either somehow Sancho in.
Yeah, well, Sancho was like top assister, wasn't he, in the Bundesliga? On either
side of Ronaldo. So if Sancho plays on the right hand side, then maybe Greenwood has to come off the left. But I don't know if he can do that. But if you can have Sancho and if you can have Greenwood and Ronaldo up top, and then you can have. Then it's like Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, supplying that, the supply line.
Rashid, we've had a really good question, and I think one for you more than me or Sadat. I think there's a question from Ishfaq Ali, and he's saying, he starts with Viva Ronaldo, so obviously he's a fan. But then he says, can Ronaldo defend like Firmino, though? That's a good question. I think it's a good question.
There, Rashid, you need a puff. You look like you had a little asthma attack there.
Because
there's a certain quote. You know what we say is there. That's my mind.
Yeah, I mean, he's Firmino's quality. Listen, we'll come back to the football again. We've got other sports to talk about as well, and like I said, Bidan will join us soon. Some of the other things that are going on. So we've got cricket going on.
Yes.
We've got golf going on.
Golf.
We've had the Paralympics just concluded now.
I think it's concluded because I think they announced GP came second.
Okay.
In the medals.
So in the Paralympics, I have to give a shout out to a very good friend of mine, Ali Heather. He's also the namesake of a Paralympian, Ali Heather, from
Oh, wow.
Pakistan, who won the first
gold.
Pakistani
Yes,
gold medal.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
on
first
news.
Pakistani gold medal in the discus.
Yes.
And it was, I mean, I saw a rerun of it, and I don't know if you saw
No,
any
I
of it.
haven't.
Did you
I
not,
haven't,
Rasha?
no.
Did you see any of this?
No, not yet.
So
no.
his technique was awful, right? He was, I think he fouled three discus attempts or something like that. And he had one that was about, I don't know, 40 meters or something. It was like nowhere near it. And then he just got one that just everything, the stars aligned, and he had this perfect throw, and it went about 53 odd meters. So, won the gold medal by about a 2 meter
Using that same
margin.
technique, all five.
No, it was just like he couldn't get his timing right. He couldn't get his, run up right. All that kind of stuff, his spinning, all that. But he got, and then the commentator said, he goes, "Well, you'll need to get one of them right," which is true. Like only one of them need to register. But yeah, it was really good, and I think it says a lot for Pakistani sport in that we're supporting disabled athletes
Yes.
to go and compete in the Paralympic Games, which is not something that you'd think we had a lot of finance for, a lot of funding for in Pakistan. So great news. Well done, Ali Heather, and well done to Pakistan for getting their first goal at the Paralympics. Golf. Have you been following any of the golf?
No.
Rasha, have you
been
been following any of the golf?
No, not really.
Modesta's
The
Say again?
female, the Seoul High Comp, the female version of the Ryder Cup's on, and Europe are leading apparently.
Yeah, so Europe are doing really well. So the Solheim Cup is, like Russia says, it's the Ryder Cup, but competed by women.
Yep.
And yesterday was the first day, and they go out in what's called four balls and foursomes. So foursomes is where four players play, but only two balls are in play. So the two Europeans, they alternate shots on one ball.
Okay, yeah.
And then the two Americans, they alternate shots on
Two on two.
on their ball, yeah. And if you hit a bad shot, then your partner's in a bit of rubbish, and vice versa. And yeah, so Europe won three of the four matches, and they drew the fourth. So they got 3.5 points to USA's half point.
One of the rounds of the four balls wasn't great. European golfer made a mistake.
Yes.
She didn't give 10 seconds, but once the American player made the shot and the ball went right to the edge, it didn't go in, and she didn't give the 10-second rule, and she went and picked the ball up and gave it back to the American.
I think
and it
you
was
were
tied. When the whole thing got tied, that was then when the adjudicators came out and said, look, you've broken the rule, and therefore, because of that, they get an extra shot, and they sort of, I don't know, they're in the lead. And then it was like literally the person was in tears.
Yeah. So it was it's interesting. So then after the foursomes is the four balls, where both of you play your own golf ball, and both of them play their own, and whoever gets the lowest score wins the hole. But Rashid's talking about this one hole where I think it was Nelly Corder from the American team hit a putt, and what happens is, because it's match play, like if you just about miss it and it goes a couple of inches past, I'll say you can have that. And sometimes I'll even pick it up and throw it to you. And sometimes we say, you don't need to putt that out. That's fine. It's almost like sportsmanship. So Nelly Corder from the American team hit a putt, and it rolled up right to the hole and cozied up on the edge. Now, in traditional golf, like not Solheim Cup, not match play, what you'd have to do is you'd have to walk up to your ball, and then, sometimes it's right on the edge and you're thinking it might fall. There's a rule that you have to give it 10 seconds to see if it drops. And if it drops within 10 seconds, it's dropped. If it's been more than 10 seconds, you've got to tap it in.
Wow.
In fact, there's a video of a golfer. I can't remember the name of the golfer, but he basically walked up to the ball and it was so close to the edge and it was almost vibrating on the edge. And he waited about 25 seconds and it finally fell. He didn't disturb it, but it did finally fall. And the ruling was no, he has to replace it and play it because he waited more than 10 seconds. But on this one, the European player went up, saw that it wasn't going to fall in, picked the ball up and threw it back to Nelly Corder. And then the rules official came in and said, you didn't give that ball 10 seconds to come to rest. And even the Americans were like, okay, look, it wasn't going to go in. Like, it stopped, right? It wasn't going to go in. But the rules official was like, the rules are the rules. And Europe ended up losing that particular match. They lost that hole, obviously.
Is there a similar rule in the game snooker where the ball over the pocket, is it when you leave the table, it's gone?
I don't know.
Is it? Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's a good question. But then, like, after you've played your shot, if the ball's hovering over the pocket, I'm just going to come quickly and knock it in, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang about. So it's...
Give a table a nudge.
Yeah. Whereas with golf, you can't interfere with other people's balls. which is always it's a good rule to live by, really.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. So Soham Cup. I think.
So who's the holders at the moment?
Europe are the holders, so they need to get 14 points to retain it. The US are trying to win, so they need to get 14.5 points. And there's only 28 points up for grabs. We're into the second day. Tomorrow's going to be singles, Monday singles. But Europe are in a strong position. Rashid, I don't know if you've got it on at the moment, but I think Europe were up in 3 matches in the morning foursomes. Are they still up in 3?
End of play said it was 2.5 points to America, 5.5 to Europe.
That was yesterday, yeah.
And it looks like Europe should win. If they can get up to like 10 points in the mix sort of things, then even in the one-on-ones, you can just get over the line. Because generally, Americans are the better individual golfers, whereas the Europeans collectively always play well.
Yeah, and you see this in the men's game as well. So this is, do you watch the Ryder Cup, the men's version of the...
Yeah, absolutely.
Rush, you do, yeah. So this is where a lot of, like how rugby, you're not into rugby, but then the World Cup comes on and you start watching it. The Ryder Cup was one of those for a lot of people that don't necessarily watch golf, but then Ryder Cup's Ryder Cup. You support Europe, right? You support them against the US. And it's very different because in a regular tournament, you've got individual players playing for themselves, and you've got a field of 150 that gets trimmed down to about 70, and then 4 or 5 players are in with a shout. Whereas with this one, every single player contributes over the 3 or 4 days, and then it, literally sometimes it comes down to like the last match, and you're waiting on the 18th green on the last match to see who wins that last point and which team comes through. The Ryder Cup's kicking off in 3 weeks. We've currently got the Tour Championship underway. I think John Rahm and Patrick Cantlay are competing for first place there. But Soham Cup, that's going to give me some good golf to be watching tomorrow. I think.
It's previous years. Europe have sort of got themselves the edge, and they've had people like Fergie and Wenger to come in and like to have a dinner with them, and they all hype them up, give them like a really amazing team talk or whatever.
Yeah.
They've had Fergie and Wenger.
Yeah, but Americans have had Michael Jordan come along to their camp and give them pep talks and stuff. Like Americans have had like massive sports stars and movie stars. Jack Nicholson came to a few of these Ryder Cup events and gave them a pep talk. Imagine getting a pep talk from Jack Nicholson. That's just that deal done, right?
Johnny.
Yeah, he is exactly. That's going on. Let's talk about cricket. Ishfaq says, sounds like you play Image. Yeah, a little bit.
Golf,
yeah, try to. Not very well, but getting better slowly but surely. Cricket.
Cricket. Well, currently England versus India going on. It's tied 1 apiece in Test series.
How does this happen, Sadat? How does this happen? Like, we absolutely dominated them in the last Test. In every aspect, in the field, bowling, batting, we had Root doing what Root does best. We had other batsmen step up, make runs. We've had our bowlers taking wickets. We wiped the floor with
mistakes, both in terms of the selection of the team and also how they've fielded. England have dropped 4 catches in the first innings. I mean, England did bowl out India.
First innings was all,
but the first innings we did well. The first innings we did well.
England did bowl India up for 190. If you they dropped 4 catches. Now you think about that.
Could have been 140, 130. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that gives you a much bigger advantage. So you've got twice the amount of the lead. But now, and the other thing I think England have done is Jofra Archer was injured and Mark Wood sort of was injured, and England have gone with a much similar pace attack. James Anderson, Overton, and Ollie Robertson.
Ollie Robinson, yeah, he's getting smashed around the park.
And they're all like mid-80s at best seam bowlers, right? All right, Jimmy Anderson's slightly quicker, he can swing it. But when you're only bowling, all of you can only bowl at about 80 odd miles an hour, and you're all right-handed as well. Seriously, there's no real variety, is there?
No, but they're missing their Archer, isn't it? He's the only one who's going to go 90 plus.
Yeah, Wood and Archer have got some express pace, and then that helped to unruffle, the bad.
They haven't got any spinners either, really, have they?
But how do you explain? And this is obviously where the match has turned, isn't it? Is the Indian second innings. How do you explain a third innings score of 415 for 8?
Is that what they are at the moment?
That's where they are at the moment.
Yeah.
What, they 300?
I mean, you don't get 415 in the third innings. Who does that? And have you seen the way the pitch has been? The pitch has been deteriorating. Like it should do.
Over it becomes flat. The pitch becomes more and more flat. Image. the oval's always been a flat.
No,
pitch, and
but it's cutting up, so they're really worried about the Indian bowlers, the spin
Yeah, the
bowlers,
spin, yeah, the
because
spin
even
will come
Root's
into play.
getting ridiculous turn. Like, what's going on with that?
Well, there you go. If I was England, I'll just reduce the score and try not to get them out and let them stay in there as long
So
as you
India
can.
now lead. It's day 4, session 2. India's lead is 3-1-6. Right. I can't see them batting deep into session 3. I think I'm going to give
They'll
England.
give them an hour
They'll
today.
give. Usually, 350 and it's time to declare.
Yeah.
They'll probably try and knock a few runs. They're 8 wickets down. They're probably just going to go gung ho now.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to bat for time.
No.
I don't think
There's only
England can
one team
score.
that can win it, basically, from this position.
Yeah, I don't think England can score 350 odd runs in 4 sessions. I don't think that's going to happen.
they're already they're 8 down and they're swinging the bat. Umesh Yadav just hit 6. There's Bumrah out there, and they're just flailing with the bat, trying to get as many runs as possible to get to that 350,
Yeah.
and then declare.
But yeah, so you reckon drop catches in the first innings cost us? I don't know. I think India's second innings is probably killing us. But
And the fact that England went with basically 4 bowlers who were exactly the same.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't
it's
have-
the same
there was
4
no
bowlers.
variation
It was the
in
same
that.
4 bowlers who reduced them to the 190 in the first, and I think we've got to give credit to India for a team that was bowled out for 78 in a previous test and not doing great in the first innings in this one, but yet to have the mental strength and to bat, was it 400 odd plus now?
you got to give credit to them.
It's
There's
a
no
great
doubt about
performance
that.
from-
I don't like giving credit to the Indian team, but yeah, you
Yeah.
kind of have to sometimes grudgingly. But what do you think of Joe Root, number 1 batsman in the world?
Yeah.
Rightly so. Obviously, he's had a really, really
Brilliant,
good
yeah.
series. Yeah.
He's literally getting a century at every test match, other
Yeah.
than this one.
Yeah, well, you might need to in the second innings.
Oh,
I think we might
well,
need him to do that.
yeah.
Yeah. So what did Root? Yeah, 21. That's like shockingly bad for him, isn't it? 21.
Yeah.
That should be 10 times as much. What's going on?
Yeah, well, they were struggling
and then
as well first innings, weren't they?
Jimmy Anderson as well. Jimmy Anderson's gone into the top 5 of test bowlers again in the world.
Yeah,
He's-
Jimmy Anderson is a great bowler for England in England, but he's not so great away.
Cole.
England conditions are just great for him and perfect for him. But saying that, he utilises those conditions better than any other bowler because it's the same conditions for the bowler at the other end. But can't do the same thing.
Fair play. We're going to head into a break shortly, but when we come back, we are going to be talking lots more football. We're going to be talking about the signings. I think, Rashid, we want an overview from you on the Trincao signing, which we haven't really talked about on the show. That's a player that you picked. We're also going to be talking about the start that each of the teams have had over the first 3 Premier League games. I hate that you get into 3
New
games.
managers, new team.
New managers, new teams, and also the international break as well. The England-Hungary game.
Yes.
Obviously the results there and how it went and some of the unsavoury
Again.
parts of, yeah, I know, it's proper deja vu on this show, isn't it? So don't go away, guys. Do join us again. We're gonna disappear for about 4 minutes for some advertisements, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Assalamu alaikum.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
हाँ बिलाल, मैं हमारी ग्रोसरी और हलाल मीट के लिए मुख्तलिफ स्टोर्स पर जाते जाते थक चुकी हूँ। पार्किंग हमेशा से एक मसला रहा है और मुझे आखिरी बार एक पार्किंग टिकट भी मिला है।
कितनी दफा बता चुका हूँ, 232 लिंकन रोड पीटरबरो पर पार्क फूड्स को ट्राई करो। ये कैम्ब्रिजशायर की सबसे बड़ी एथनिक सुपरमार्केट है और उनके पास 1 घंटे के लिए फ्री कस्टमर कार पार्क है।
वाओ, रियली? लेकिन क्या मैं वहाँ से सब कुछ खरीद सकती हूँ?
Yes, fresh quality fruit, vegetables, dairy product, halal meat and poultry delivered every day. It really is a one-stop shop. Plus, Park Foods carry a huge range of brands from around the world and thousands of products in their daily use household range.
मैं अभी जाना चाहती हूँ। वो कब तक खुलते हैं?
Monday to Saturday, 8:30 to 8 p.m. and 11 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. और ये बहुत ही साफ और महफूज है और कोविड गाइडलाइंस को फॉलो किया जाता है। तो फिर चलें, शाजिया।
Park Foods. Come and see the difference.
Secure your property with H Secure Tech. App-based intruder alarm with panic alarm function, control and monitor from your phone anywhere in the world. Reduced false alarms, pet friendly and get instant alerts. No monthly fees. Also Also fire protection, perimeter protection and CCTV integration. Call 01733 590 201 or email info@hsecuretech.com. Visit our website at hsecuretech.com. H Secure Tech, Peterborough's trusted supplier and installer of home security systems.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jyoti Sood. Let's face it, lockdown has left many of us carrying some extra weight. But extra weight can put pressure on our bodies, making it harder to fight diseases like cancer, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. So now is a great time for us to get our weight on track. The Better Health website has lots of free tools and tips to get you started. So for help and support to lose weight, search Better Health. Let's do this.
It's estimated that 5,760 children become orphaned every day, and the numbers are rising. UKIM ensures that the orphans we sponsor receive healthcare, food, education and shelter to show them that there are people who care. This Ramadan, from just £30 per month, you can make a real change in an orphan's life. Your sponsorship will provide them with much needed essentials to ease their situation. For orphan sponsorship, call now or visit ukim.org.
दोस्ता कियां परेशान है यार कर है ना सारा सौदा मुक्या वा मुल्का विच पैसे भेजने हूं नहीं मार फूड वाले की फोन कड़का ते फ्री लोकल डिलीवरी कार मंगवा आला ता उथे कै स्पेशल आ उना की लबई हाइजीनिक ग्रेड 5 चीजें चंगियां मियारी ते सस्तियां ते नाले ऑफरां ही ऑफरां और क्या ताजा गोश्त ताजी सब्जियां ते फ्रूट आटा चावल दालां मसाले ते जूस सारे बिल जमा करने गैस ते इलेक्ट्रिक नो टॉप अप भी करने पाकिस्तान पैसे बिल्कुल फ्री भेजने मतलब के एक चिड़ी ने दूध छड़ी ते हर शय लबनी जने ने आप उतरा
Amar Food Store and Halal Meat 613B Lincoln Road Peterborough telephone 01733 687374.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salaam Radio. Salaam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Salaam Sports on Salaam Radio.
That sounds a bit funny.
Isn't it?
It sounds like somebody else saying my lines. What's going on with that?
Well, it's all about control.
Oh, fair enough.
I want control.
So now you're in the driving seat. I'll let you decide whether I can speak or not.
Oh, yeah, I can control your mic, can't I? I forgot about that. Right,
this is where you say, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you for letting me sit here, Image.
Shout out to Inspire FM.
Shout out to Inspire FM, Luton. Wait for your first call.
105.1. We are still waiting for their first call, yeah.
It's just unbelievable. But we've got Rashid on the line, and I believe if you can hear me, Bidan, hello, are you there? Hello. This is where it all goes.
You got their volumes up.
Did you put it down?
You have to put it down when you go into break.
No, I've got the volumes up.
Rashid, Bidan, can you guys hear us?
Look, line phone up. Oh, press that button as well. Hello, can you hear me? See, this is what happens when you don't let me play with these toys.
What is going on? Right. Well, why don't you carry on and I'll look at the...
you look at that.
What are we talking about in the second half, Sadat?
Yeah, green fader's up. The whole button's off. Oh, just put it on, is it? Oh, but Skype up. What's the point of putting Skype up? To be honest, they're your friends anyway. I don't really like them.
All right, what are we talking about in the second half of the show?
Well, we're talking about football, as always. And unfortunately, we'll be talking about racism again.
Oh, no, not always. Again.
I've seen the international game, England versus Hungary.
Yeah.
Why it was a great result. Well, most of the chit-chat, obviously, was about the racist chants.
So I saw that picture, that iconic picture of Sterling celebrating a goal. Was it a goal that he celebrated? And, there was some horrible chants, horrible actions being shown by, it was the Hungary fans, wasn't it? And
yes.
Hungary is not known for being one of the most inclusive places in Europe. Probably a place where, there's definitely more education that is needed. But yeah, it wasn't nice to see. But then what's the best way of shutting up the fascists?
That's what I was going to say.
What'd you do?
We talk about banning, because they've been banned in Hungary, haven't they, for the UEFA games.
Yeah.
This was a FIFA game, so that's why that ban wasn't in place. And then obviously the talk is, do we ban them again for more games? Or, well, I suggest, and I think it would be a good idea, is to simply walk off.
Walk off?
Yeah.
But we were going to win that game.
Exactly. What, do we have to wait until we're 2-3-0 down and then we'll walk off?
No, but what I'm saying is, what are the repercussions of walking off?
What's the repercussions of walking? Well, look, you're showing that you're not going to. This is it. We're not tolerating this sort of behaviour whatsoever from any fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean,
oh, I've got another call as well. Handset. Look at this. What's going on here? Yeah. Well, why is it all of them calling now?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Let me try and see if I can see if we can do this. Oh, call ended on one. He's obviously got upset. Oh, it's Bidan again. Hello, Bidan. Can you hear me? Does that button go on or off? Hello, I can hear something.
That's better.
Yeah.
Hey, Bidan's here. Rashid,
Just need to
can
try
you
and
hear
get
me?
Rashid back as well, innit?
Rashid, can you hear us? Okay, yeah, call Rashid again. Rashid, if you can hear us, we're going to cut you off, but we will call you back.
Yeah. Well, we've got Bidan here with us.
Yeah,
anyway,
we've got the better one anyway, to be honest.
Easy.
No, I could never lace Rashid's boots. He's an encyclopedia of football.
The guy's
of
knowledge is
sport
proper
and
deep,
politics.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. I learned everything I know from him.
Thanks for joining us, Bidan. You missed the first question in the first half. I don't know if you were listening to us or not. I know we're currently talking about racing, but can I just get a quick response to Ronaldo? Because we've done Ronaldo and I don't want to do him again, but just want to answer just want you to answer. You're more happy that he's joined United or more happy he didn't join City?
Probably, maybe more happy that he didn't join City, to be honest with you. But look, he's still a world class player at 36. Finished top scorer in Serie A, top scorer in the Euros. I know you don't want to talk about it, but some of the things I've heard, the shift in narrative has just been laughable from the Euros, where it was like, oh, he's still doing it, top scorer, what an amazing man, what a machine, to now, oh, he's finished, what are United doing?
No. But you know what? This is definitely selective hearing on the part of United fans. If you want to build a narrative, you're gonna hear the things that you want to hear to build that narrative. I would say one of your typical Liverpool fans, and I've said it from day one. The guy's a goat.
Is there any other?
The guy's the goat, not a goat. He's the goat, and he is for me. He is the most potent striker in world football. Has been over the last 12 years, right?
Look,
10 years, 12
to
years.
give you an example, so I can name names of people who said this. So like Paul Merson, for example, on Sky.
Yeah.
It's just
Rashid's back. I think Rashid was just waiting. Rashid was just waiting for you to mention Paul Merson, and he was going to be back. Rashid's back. So go on. What does Paul Merson say?
Paul Merson was actually just saying, look, he's 36, he's dusted essentially, and he just said they say that he outscored Lukaku, but Lukaku won the league. He was scoring big goals. Ronaldo wasn't, and I'm like, so Ronaldo doesn't score big goals now.
Come
on. And then does this one there was a journalist for the Times called Alison Rudd.
Okay, so this one I've got sympathy with. Definitely for you fans.
Daniel James, by selling
Daniel
James and bringing in Ronaldo, we're turning our back on years of our traditions of youth development, despite us having Greenwood, McTominay, Lingard, Rashford.
Didn't Klopp say something similar? When Klopp was going on about, we don't, in Liverpool's policy is not to buy for now, it's to buy for the future. We're looking for younger players, so we can't go out and splash out on a player who will perform now. We want to splash out on a player who will perform consistently in the future.
Was he referring to United at the time?
Yes, because they asked him about the Ronaldo question.
Oh, okay, and he just said, we weren't interested in Ronaldo because we're looking for younger players or develop. That's a little bit different. I think what Bidan's referring to is an article where they said United are turning articles, and they're turning their back on United tradition of blooding them in, the youngsters, bringing them in from the academy, all that kind of stuff. And then somebody shared a stat that I think United have gone how many consecutive games where they've had at least 4,000 consecutive games where they've had at least one product of their academy playing in their first team.
45% of the players that play for them, over the last 50 odd years, have been from their academy as well.
Yeah.
So we
I
got
mean,
this when Mourinho joined, don't he? United, they said, "Oh, he doesn't play the youth
so
academy."
Mourinho, I think, is an easy target. I think with this one, I think there's a bit of jealousy. Like there's nothing
another
else
one.
because-
There's this journalist called Melissa Reddy as well, and she said like she used to lay into Lukaku when he played for United, and quite rightly. Now she's saying Lukaku is the signing of the season because he's undergone this miraculous transformation in Italy, apparently. And just saying that Ronaldo is finished and, he's, like I said, not...
Melissa Reddy,
supports Liverpool.
She supports Liverpool. She's openly and overtly a pro-Liverpool journalist. And, if she normally says something about a transfer that Liverpool are involved in, then it's always right because she actually gets brief from the Liverpool hierarchy. So there's no bias there, is there? And secondly, all I will say is this. We also look how Lukaku performed against Liverpool the other day. And it just seems the same Lukaku back in the Premier League.
I don't buy.
He's a bit leaner.
Look, I mean, this is from a non-United fan. Like, I think you guys definitely were too harsh on Lukaku when he was a United player. Probably because you've been blessed with very different types of strikers. You've not had that kind of.
Well, the big problem everyone with Lukaku was his first touch.
Yeah, first touch, but. Look, he's going to bully defences and he's going to, get on the end of crosses and he's great in the air. And
he's also going to tackle himself in odd games as well. Like
he is.
That's just the way he is.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. Also, that's just one of them things. Like, he's a good front man if that's how you want to play.
I think it's a good signing for Chelsea.
Chelsea are definitely a team that are at their best when they're trying to overpower their opposition.
Did I see correctly? He's received the most money in transfers in total from wherever he's gone. And
because he's moved about a bit.
He's moved about a bit, isn't it? So he's got the most. Well, not him, but
more money has been spent on him on transfers than probably
any other player.
Probably any other player ever. Maybe Neymar.
No,
he's more than Neymar.
More than Neymar. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, and just going back to what you were saying earlier, Badan, like I think. Yeah, if people are trying to, change their colours in terms of how they feel about Ronaldo, then definitely call him out. But I think for me personally, I think for this show as well, I think even Arif has said, like, Arif will say begrudgingly, he'll say, oh yeah, he became the player he is after he left United, not accepting that he won his Ballon d'Or at United. But, like you kind of say, you got to take your hat off to the guy. The guy's sensational. I think anybody talking him down. You can have the Messi Ronaldo.
A great role model
discussion
for kids to look at.
He really is.
He is.
You can have the Messi Ronaldo discussion all day long. But as long as you understand that you're talking about two of the best that have ever played ever, and potentially ever will. I don't think two players are going to come along that are going to dominate like these two have dominated over the last 15 years. I don't see it happening. I think there's a lot. I mean, if you look at like Mbappe, Neymar. I mean, who else?
Haaland.
Griezmann was touted as one of those. Hazard was touted as one of those.
Yeah.
Haaland's still young. He's probably got time to do that. But if you look at these players, you don't see these guys elevating themselves above the rest the way Messi and Ronaldo did. And I feel like Messi pulled Ronaldo up. I have to say, I feel like Messi was showing those levels at such a young age, and Ronaldo became this beast that kind of emulated and mimicked and even overtook.
It'll be good to see now Messi's left Barcelona. It's his first, obviously, move, how he performs with PSG.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Well, back to, the international game, what we were talking about, England versus Hungary. And the result was obviously in favour of England, 4-0. But the whole chit-chat and talk is about the racist chants and the booing of taking the knee at the start. So it all kicked off from there, really, didn't it, at the outset? I mean, what is the solution? Is there a simple solution?
No, I don't think there's a simple solution. It's way beyond, like, if obviously the situation in Hungary, and we can go to our political expert, Rashid. Obviously they've got a hugely right-wing government there. Their president is a very questionable. Yeah, and he also plays a centre defence for them. But he's a very questionable character. He gets on well with Boris, they were always going to boo the taking of the knee. They were always going to boo it, and obviously, look, the monkey chants is just unfortunately idiots in the crowd. I mean, look, the actual official FA and the manager were obviously we're condemning any of these actions, but I just don't think you're going to. It's a societal
wasn't
problem.
it one of the minister, or was it the foreign minister, said, "Well, I didn't see England condemning it when it happened at Wembley, the national anthem, I think, against Italy when it was booed." And he tweeted, "Well, I didn't see them complaining then, and why they're complaining now."
That's just whataboutery,
I mean,
isn't it?
that's form of collection. But I mean, I think Southgate was largely right. I mean, I think he played it right. He said, "Look, let's not prejudge the situation and let's see what happens." And he said also, "We can't point the finger at any others when we have racism at home taking place." And he was absolutely spot on, because when England were taking the knee, even in the first game in the Euros, the players there was booing. There's been booing at English fans. I mean, it hasn't happened. Well, we don't know if it has or happened currently. Now that this season's kicked off, but generally last season there was booing. You've had various people in social media, right-wing commentators, and
banners flying over.
So the way I see it is, there's no magic bullet. There's no magic bullet.
And you had people like Priti Patel saying he was gesture politics, yada yada yada, same sort of nonsense you see.
Yeah, I mean that's just flames to the fire, isn't it? That's just flames. What I was going to say was, look, there's no magic bullet. There's no one thing that you can implement that just eradicates all this. Absolutely, I don't think anybody is going to pretend that there is. What you can do is you can set, very, very clear guidelines on how to deal with it. Now, just before we were joined by you guys on the phone, Sadat was mentioning whether or not England should have walked off. And I think that was trialled, wasn't it? That was something that UEFA brought out. Where,
was it a three
warning? Three strikes, you're right. Yeah. So there'll be something on the tannoy once, twice.
The problem was the players didn't hear it. I mean, the players themselves didn't hear any of this. I mean, the Sky reporters and the ITV reporters on the sideline, or that were in front of the Hungarian ultras, whatever their equivalent, when they were doing it, those that were in front of them could hear it, but none of the English players could hear it. Are you telling me
Raheem Sterling was unaware of the abuse he was getting? Because there was that picture, wasn't it, where he was celebrating, and then there was all these drinks being thrown at him, and people, making.
No, he himself didn't hear any of the monkey chants. That was the key thing. And so that was.
So okay, let's say hypothetically the players did hear it. So as he celebrating or during the game, they heard it. I mean, what was the game where they had the tannoy announcement? It wasn't England.
Bulgaria. Bulgaria when Harry Mings he had, and then he said to the referee and to the England coaches, "Look, can you hear this?" And they all said yes. And then the three-strap protocol started to happen. I just think there shouldn't be a three-strap protocol. If it happens, just walk off.
Yes.
You shouldn't be abused. Imagine if any of us were our day jobs, right? And we got racially abused. Do you think there's going to be a three-step protocol? No. It's nonsense. This three-step protocol.
It is nonsense, you're right. And yeah, I mean, if the regional FAs or the local FAs don't want to be handed massive fines and, play in front of empty stadiums and all that kind of stuff, if there was those kinds of punishments in place, then they would take it a lot more seriously. They'd invest in trying to identify these culprits and handing them lifetime bans. Like, you can't get a ticket for England now without fully being validated on the FA website, getting your own fan number, having a full-on history. So you can easily identify and tag these, red list these people, and just keep them off. There needs to be a will. If there's a will, they'll manage to do it. But at the moment, I just don't feel like there's enough FAs that are in a joint effort. I don't think it's top of the agenda when
I think, like Rashid said, if they just walk off, I think that will just push the issue even further. And say, hang on, what's going on here? If we can't have every other game stopped after 20 minutes because of the racial chants, but surely they're going to have to, act even further and take even more serious this issue, which I don't think they're taking very seriously at all. Because
it's unsavory. But I mean, at the end of the day. And I know, and I don't want to belittle the issue, obviously, we talk about it quite often, but England won. They won 5-0. They won convincingly. Sterling played well, scored the opening goal. Rice got a goal, Maguire got a goal, Kane got a goal.
It doesn't matter if they were. I mean, say
was it 4-0?
4-0 at the end. But say if they're losing 2-0 and there's the racial chance, and then they walk off, and it'll be, they only walked off because they were losing.
Oh, so you're saying they need to walk off every single time?
Yes.
Otherwise, if they do walk off on the game where they're losing, people are going to be like, that's just politics.
Just politics, yeah. You know what it is like. That's going to turn around and be like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'm with Rashid. If Rashid agrees with me, walk off. Not care about the political situation in the country. If there are any players getting racially abused, and it's obvious.
And FIFA needs to do more, because this is a FIFA, it's a World Cup. It's not run by UEFA. It's actually run. This is World Cup, it's run by FIFA, whereas Euro coming to UEFA, right?
Yes,
So
they have they've got 2 game now.
The ban that UEFA placed on them can't be implemented during World Cup qualifiers.
No.
Which is absolutely nonsensical.
Absolutely.
It's a joke.
And, as some, the good football commentators in there are saying that, do you think Hungary should be thrown out? They should just be thrown out the World Cup. Or every game should be converted to 5-0 losses.
Rashid, that's just made me think of a question. Bidad, I think you might know the answer to this, but do you remember, it was Suarez when he got banned from all football?
Was that the biting incident?
Biting incident. Or even going back, the Cantona, when he kung fu kicked, and he got banned from all football. And I think I'm sure I've heard, like, they couldn't train, they couldn't play in friendlies,
Not behind
they
closed
couldn't
doors.
play internationals, they couldn't play behind closed doors. So what authority was that had such wide-reaching powers that they stopped them from playing in friendlies and internationals and FIFA and UEFA and FA and, and all that? Who was that?
It's just nonsense.
It's rules when it suits them, Mitch. It's rules when it suits them. For racism, it's not enough. But if you wear a T-shirt or, like players say, if you wear a T-shirt or you've got a logo that isn't correct, whatever, or political logo, it's haywire. You'll get banned.
Let's move on. We haven't got long, and I just wanted to open up and say, look, I think start the season, 3 games in now. You could and 3 games in without Sancho really featuring much, without Ronaldo actually having joined. United are looking good. Were they on 7 points?
Yes, 2 wins and a draw.
2 wins and a draw. Liverpool on 7 points.
Well, Tottenham. Let's talk about Tottenham. New manager, 100% record.
No goals conceded. Is that right? Or did they concede in the last game?
Yeah, 3-1.
No goals conceded.
No goals conceded.
Look at that.
I've only scored 3 goals. I've only scored 3 goals so far.
And Arsenal, rock bottom.
That's without Kane as well.
Yep.
So
they kept Kane for 1 game, I think. But yeah, Arsenal rock bottom.
Is Tottenham real contenders this season?
No.
I know it's only 3 games, but new manager.
No. My brother's a season ticket holder at Spurs, unfortunately, and he himself has said no.
And he's still a member of the family.
He's saying they're playing Chelsea very soon, and the bubble will burst then.
Well, they beat City, didn't they? Was it the first game? Tottenham City?
But City always last.
City always start. Yeah, if they beat City in December, then it's something worth talking about.
Lukaku's going to be up against Sanchez and Dyer. And remember, Sanchez's fall, when he fell flat on his face.
Yeah. Listen,
when he comes up against Lukaku, how's he going to fall in?
Rashid, I need to go actually. So I won't be here for the last 5 minutes of the show. But just before I do, I wanted to say, I noticed how. Do you remember? Was it 3 or 4 years ago when, quite early on in the season, Liverpool went to the Etihad, and we got a red card. I think was it Mane got sent off, and we got annihilated 5-0. And that was a year where we thought we might win the league because we had a pretty good season. The previous season we'd grown and all that.
Was that the Gerrard, the next season after Gerrard slipped one? Or?
It might have been the year after that. I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago.
It was 2 or 3 years after.
Yeah, but then Chelsea come to Anfield, they get a man sent off, and we just couldn't do it. I just feel like if you're genuine title contenders, somebody gets, especially somebody who's competing with you for the league. If you get a man sent off from the opposition, you got to go on and win that game comfortably. And I think we failed. I'll leave it for you guys to talk about that.
So you don't feel Liverpool's
I feel
contenders
like
this season?
We should have signed somebody who's a little bit more enigmatic, a little bit non-conventional going forward. I feel like we've got a plan A, we don't have plan B. I think
so. We were talking about last time the Klopp cycle. Then is this the Klopp cycle?
I don't think it's the Klopp cycle. I think it's just when we win, we go quiet about it, and we lose, we flipping bring his name up again. But we haven't replaced Coutinho. Coutinho was the guy that would unlock the defences.
There's rumours he's coming back, isn't it?
He's not the same player though, is he? It's just anyway. I will leave it for you guys to.
Bale won it. Sorry.
What's going on?
Bale just got his hat trick in the 90th minute against Belarus, and it's 3-2 to Wales against Belarus.
Is this the World Cup qualifier?
Yeah, World Cup qualifier. 1 minute left to play in injury time, 93rd minute, and Bell just scored the win. He's just got a hat trick. He got £2, scored £2, and he just smashed the ball in the ball. It's 3-2 to Wales.
Wow! And Gareth Bale's back. He's gone back to Real Madrid, hasn't he, Gareth Bale?
Yeah.
Wow, and he's a has-been as well. They said obviously he's not performing, he's not doing well. What do you reckon?
I think he's been he's back in the Real Madrid team, isn't he? So because obviously Ancelotti is. his back manager, and Ancelotti's giving him more of a chance than Zinedine Zidane did. But yeah, look, hat trick for Wales, and it's.
So where's that them on the table then in the qualifiers?
They'll be third. They'll move up to third, and the top two in that group play each other. So they're 1 point behind the team back second, and the top two play each other.
Oh, okay. And who else is in that group? Sorry, remind me. Off the top of my head, I can't recall who Wales' group is. In the
was
top
Czech
two.
Republic in there, Rash? Was it Czech Republic?
Hang on 1 second.
Rash is getting his stats out. He's getting his iPad out or something.
Yeah.
Sure, Czech.
It's Belgium, Czech Republic.
Oh, Belgium, Czech Republic. Wow.
And they play. They play tonight. It's Belgium v Czech Republic. So if Belgium do the business, then it's just 1 point between the two, between Wales and the Czech Republic.
And I assume they've got to play again, haven't they? Wales and Czech Republic.
Yeah. And you expect Wales hopefully to beat the Czech Republic, and they'll finish second, and then they go into they won't qualify directly, but then
no, it's the playoffs, isn't it? Yeah, is it number two goes into playoffs?
Yeah.
Good luck to Wales. Okay, Arsenal. What's happened to Arsenal? What is going on, lads?
They've now become the official banter club for everyone in the Premier League.
I think so everyone was talking about Arsenal's finish to the season last season, saying I think they were in better form than United and City and whatever, and they had. I think actually they were fourth, weren't they, in terms of the table of form. And I remember saying to an Arsenal fan, that's because there's zero pressure on you, right? You're going from 10th to 8th or whatever. And I know, and then
nothing to lose, sort of thing.
Yeah, but then the same old problems resurfaced this season. They got absolutely bullied at Brentford. And then obviously they had two tough games against Chelsea and City. Like, to lose 5-0 at City must be completely gutting. And I know that they're investing for the future, but that was the mistake that was the beginning of the end for Arsene Wenger, when he started to invest in the future for, players like Danielson and Song and all that kind of stuff, instead of when he was in when Wenger was in the first phase of his Arsenal career, he was buying people who were ready for, who were like Petit, and I know Vieira was like young, but he had come from Italy. People, and Overmars was experienced tenor, and it was just. I think Arsenal. I was watching an interview with Eddie when they're talking about the future. There is no future. You've got to start winning now. And
I saw that interview. He was saying there's a balance, isn't there?
They spent £150 million.
Wow.
And are they really that better off than they were in previous years?
Surely they're not going to get the top four this season, is it? I know it's only 3 games.
No, absolutely no way. I mean, like, going back to what Rash was saying, the players they bought, like Ben White, 50 million. Wow, like that is I can't believe that they shelled out that much money on him. He's not worth it. Aaron Ramsdale is a terrible goalkeeper, and is now the time to be buying a reserve keeper. And I don't know who else they've signed. I can't really reel them.
Okay, lads. Sorry, we're running out of time. Literally got last 10 seconds. Team that's going to win the Premier League, quickly. Tell me one team. Who's your team?
United. I was going to say United.
Good man. All right, time's up, lads. Thank you very much. Inshallah, I'll speak to you all next week. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care. Bye.